Welcome to another episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I'm your host, Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, and as you can see, we're back in studio. I feel like it's been a while. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe last episode was. So I am here with my guest. Let me tell you a little bit about her since you can already see her, and then we'll get chatting. But as a certified Oxygen Advantage breath instructor, Lenka has experienced many significant changes in her personal life when she started paying attention to 24/7 breathing and practicing functional breathing during the day. She believes in the power of our breath, the simple tool we often take for granted, and the magic it can create in our lives when we use it in a way that can benefit our overall well-being. It has inspired individuals to start paying attention to their breath and start using the beautiful gift that we already have within functionally. It's free. You can use it anytime, anywhere, without relying on others or things from the outside. So, Lenka, thank you for being here with me today. And I think it's so true. Our breath, we often forget that we can actually control it because it's so natural. Mm-hmm. But when we can't breathe, that's when people tend to start to notice it. But I want you to share a little bit with the audience why you do what you do, or a little bit more about your background and story.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an honor. I love sharing about our breath. It's just such a beautiful thing, and I, didn't pay attention to it either. So, I am certified life and health coach and certified Oxygen Advantage breath instructor. And how I got to this was when I was when I became a mom. That it was the hardest thing, the biggest change in my life. And it actually, I was taking it so seriously that I lost myself in it, being a mom. And I thought that I have to be, here just as a mom and do everything possible for the little guy. And I wasn't being myself. And so what happened was that I stopped believing in myself and being in my body, and the mind took over. And so I was listening to others. I was reading books. I was just taking advices from everyone else instead of just truly slowing down, pausing, going within, and then seeing it as like, this is my family. I want to see, how it works for us, because we all have different scenarios at our homes. And so what works for one doesn't work for the other. And so when I finally made the change back to myself, because I was becoming very angry person, when you don't sleep, right? When you're trying to be perfect in everything and being there for others, then it's hard to be you. And so finally, when it wasn't working, I was, just not, I never knew that I can yell. And it was a becoming everyday thing. And I said, this is not me. I don't like it. I don't want this. And, this little baby, he has no control of what he's doing, but I can control what I'm doing. So I start looking at my son as my biggest teacher, and he starts showing me things don't matter. Leave the dishes there, right? Come here. I'm right here. I'm growing. You can't take it back. Those years will be gone. So if you want to experience beauty and joy, then be here with me in the moment. And that's what got me to okay, I need to slow down. What can I do? And that's how I start learning more about how I can change without, paying a lot of money into self-care, because a lot of times we think that self-care is costly, right? But it is not. So I started using the breathing, and from then on, it's just a wonderful ride. So that's why I want to just, show it others that we don't have to go and purchase things, or we don't have to like, we rely on so many gadgets to tell us how we feel, how many steps we did, how we, slept throughout the night. But if we can really start paying attention to our breath, it will tell us from within, not from the outside. So
yeah. Well, and I thank you for sharing your story first and foremost. I think that a lot of us moms, right? So I oftentimes talk about my story with my son because my sister, she died by suicide the year my son was about a year and a half old at that point. And so I talk about that time before I started actually taking care of myself. It was borderline child abuse. I talk about it in that way because I was so angry with the world. I was so angry with everything in life. Yeah.
oh God,
right.
I'm reliving what he's saying here.
But with moms, I mean, being technically a first-time mom, not knowing what the heck I'm doing. My son also actually had seizures, and I didn't know what the heck was happening. So just going through a lot of traumatic events, and then being just what I found, I was stuck in fear. That's like ultimately what was running my life. But I was angry, and that's what it was. It was like 0 to red in 2 seconds that you're like, you don't even know what's happening. And then you start realizing what's happening and you're like, oh, and so when you were talking about how your son was showing you, hey, by the way, like I'm here, pay attention to me. They're doing things that are just behaviors of a child. And as a parent that's getting angry because of whatever's happening in our life or the hormones or I mean there's so many things that happen after having a baby that you're just like, what is happening to myself? So I'm so glad that you talk about it in a way of, I think all of us moms, I would probably say every mom at least one point in our life that we're like, what the heck am I doing? And then our kids are like, hello, I'm a child. So having to get to the point that we're like, oh, this is not about them. It's about me. Yeah. And I have to make those changes. I have to shift. So I think that it's important for people to hear that message is that I don't believe that there's any perfect mom out there. We do the best that we can with the resources that we have available. And I love that you were like, what can I do that I already have access to and that is cheap and free? Yeah. And that's our breath, which is something that we absolutely take for granted. Yeah. So I love the fact that you kind of wrap it all into this picture of being a mom, being able to have access to something that is not hard to tap into. But I think it's also, and you may find this through clients that you talk to now, is like, oh, that's how I actually realize how to breathe.
Yeah. We absolutely take this for granted. And because we were born, right, with it, and we think, okay, I've been here for how many years, right? And I've been breathing, what's the big deal? Yeah. But everything that we do throughout our day has breath involved. And right, if we're sleeping, we're breathing, right? If we're walking, we're breathing. If we're doing laundry, we're breathing. When we're reading book, when we're having conversation. I mean, it's 24/7. And if we can learn how to use that breath functionally, so it can benefit all of that, then I mean, that's the best gift that we were given, plus our life itself. Right. But it's just something that, like, we don't realize that. I will ask you a question, actually.
Yeah, of course.
How many times do you think that we inhale and exhale throughout our day?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Probably like 1,000 at least. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we do at least 10 to 12 every second. Who knows? I have no idea. Yeah, that was totally, math is not good.
It's all good.
That's girl math right there.
I usually get, I don't know. And then when I say it's 22,000 times every single day, that we breathe. Okay. That's a big number, right? And a lot of times we pay attention to, when it comes to health, we pay attention to food, right? How, to have the best food, what can we put in our body, what's the healthiest. We pay attention to how much water we're drinking, how often we exercise, right? And just let's say the average time for eating, it's about 3 times a day, maybe 5, right?
Yeah.
Exercising depends on people, right? A few times a
Does
week.
walking
I
count?
know.
Just kidding.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's much better than when you go to the
Oh,
gym.
good. Okay.
And then drinking water too, like how many times, you drink. And it's few times, like 3 times food, right? Maybe, let's say 5 times exercising during a week. But that's such a small number compared to 22,000 times a day.
Yeah.
And that's like, we can affect the way we feel, the way we sleep, the way our body just repairs itself, the way that we have relationships with others, how much we love ourselves. There's so much that goes into our breath, how we digest, what we are feeding ourselves with. It's all comes down to self-care.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing when you start, practicing. And it's not for just certain people. We all breathe. It doesn't matter if you're tall, if you're short, if you're mom, if you're man, woman, it's just we all breathing. So, to me, it's so important to share this message to just, let or teach people how to come back to themselves and learn the basics of breathing so they can feel happy, they can share the happiness, and not always going and being in their mind, but closer to your heart. And so that way you act from the goodness that you have within and not acting from what's on your mind. And you can regulate the amount of thoughts that are coming through your head with your breath. I could ask you another question, actually.
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course.
How many thoughts do you think that run through our head every day?
Well, I know that we have about 7 million bits of information that comes at us all at once. I know that one, but that's just because neuro-linguistic programming coaching.
Yeah.
So I don't know the total amount, but it's really, really high.
It is, yeah. It's almost 70,000 a day.
Wow.
And that's like every day, it's pretty much the same thoughts. And when we learn how to breathe, you can lower the amount to 45,000, which is still a big number.
Right.
That's like a lot of thoughts. But what happens is that the thoughts will become more positive, more uplifting, right? Because when you start breathing functionally, you start feeling better. You getting oxygen into your entire body, all your organs, all your cells, everything starts working the way it's supposed to. You have more energy. You want to do things, right? You feel good about yourself. You feel like you feed yourself with good food, because why would you want to put something in your body that's going to make you heavy or, out of energy? You choose activities that like your body can handle. Your breath can teach you as well, like what activity is the one that you should do, depending on how you're breathing, if you hear yourself breathing, if you're hyperventilating. And it's just, there's so much about the breath. But you wake up rested because you were able to sleep through the night and you're ready, to go share the happiness. And so it's just a beautiful circle of love once you start.
Wow. So I know when you and I first talked, because I just recently started doing breath work as a healing modality. And I have done it in the past, like in groups, but not one-to-one sessions. And I know that's a much different breath that you use when you're doing actual breath work sessions. But I never thought, you said 22,000 breaths per day. So 22,000 breaths per day is what you're breathing. Some people possibly more, potentially, I would think. Possibly less if you actually are good at paying attention to your breath. And I do know with a couple of my networking groups, I have some wellness providers that are also very much in the breathwork space. And so we've been lucky enough to have them do presentations. I've had a couple guests on here that are also in the space, and I never really understood. So because when we were maybe taught, well, I don't even know if we were taught in school back in the day, but I do know they do it now. They do like the finger breathing, or the box breathing, right? Like I feel like everybody for the most part understands the box breathing, sort of.
Right.
But if you think about just every day utilizing the breath, I think that's a different mindset.
It's very different. And, you know, there's so many different techniques out there. Thing is, if you don't know the quality of your breath, which everyone's quality is different, and there's an exercise that you can measure it. If you don't know that and you choose to do a certain technique, it can actually harm you more than help you. So it's very important to know how you are with your breathing, where you're at, and then you can start practicing different ways to raise that number, so then your body can start finally using the breath the way that it can, and it can benefit you. The techniques, I'm not saying they're not good things, but it's more of the way you're living your life, right? If you need to use a technique, you already know that you need a change, or your body's telling you, all right, something's not right, I'm not in balance, what can I do, right? And you hop on a technique. Now you're counting on a technique as, okay, that this will help me. It might help you, it's different, right? It's something new, so your body will register that. But is it going to help me in the long run? And you'll do the technique a few times, and then you're like, I'm going to go back to my regular lifestyle. Well, then you're going to be experiencing the same thing over and over. And you'll say, oh, that technique didn't work. What else can I use, right? What else can I try? And that's how we go through life. Instead, if you could really put attention on your breath, I mean, we're breathing right now, right? So if I can use the breath every single moment, I'm inhaling and exhaling, you don't have to go through some hard times later on. And that's the beauty that I love teaching. It's really a lifestyle than a technique. And again, like breath work, it's wonderful. You just need to know, like, what is it for? Why am I using it? And afterwards, how did it make me feel? Because some techniques, and especially for women, we have so many hormones. Certain techniques can just mess with our hormones even more. So then you're not getting, the benefits. So
interesting. Yeah. So now I have a question that's popping in my head, but we're going to go to our quick first sponsor break. And when we get back, I will ask my question. So we'll be right back after this quick sponsor break.
Have you ever felt completely alone?
Like your life doesn't matter.
One person dies due to suicide every 40 seconds.
You are not alone. Call the National Suicide Lifeline at 988.
Hope and recovery is possible.
1 in 8 people globally live with a mental disorder.
That's why Empowering Minds saves lives.
We need your help.
With only $19 a month, you help us save lives through mental health and suicide prevention education.
Scan the QR code or go to makementalhealthmatter.org to sign up as a warrior for mental health today.
And like that, we're back. I don't know why that commercial didn't play, but that's okay. If you happen to be just tuning into the Make Mental Health Matter show, thank you so much for watching or listening. My guest Lenka and I are chatting about your breath, which is something that you always have access to, something that you're always doing. And as she shared with us, we have about 22,000 breaths in a day in 24 hours. So there's a lot to work with. And if we are not really paying attention to our breath, then I don't know, I guess humans, we don't really tend to pay attention to our breath. But when we start to pay attention to our breath, it can help change things. One thing that you brought up before we went to the break was that there's a lot of techniques out there. It's kind of like, I would say, like all the strategies that are out there, right? Everybody has a strategy, everybody has a way that they do things. And then there's all these different techniques. What I love that you mentioned is that you truly teach people how to utilize it on a daily basis and put it or ingrain it into daily practice so that you're continually using it. It's not just hey, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do these breathwork classes. It didn't really work out. So now I'm going to go try another technique. That didn't really work out. I'm just going to breathe. So I love that you brought that up. And the question that was popping up into my head is, when we start to focus on our breath, and I'm going to take this back just a little bit, because I had a friend who she could not breathe when she first was born. So there are those that come into life not being able to breathe, and now she heavily focuses on her breathing because it was something that she couldn't do. So what I love that you said is this can be a daily, hourly, minute practice, and it's something that we can start to ingrain. So those people that really understand not being able to breathe, maybe this is something that can really help them, or those that experience anxiety, those that have panic attacks. Like, those are a lot of the things that we talk about in the mental health space.
Yeah, the breath is so wonderful, and again, it helps with all of this. And then once you start understanding it more and taking it as your lifestyle, you will realize that, like walking up the stairs, breathing heavily, that's not normal. We just think it is. When you go for a run, the same thing, you're breathing through your mouth, right? Because you think you need more oxygen, and it's normal because everyone does it. We see it around and we think it's normal, but it really is not. And so with the anxiety, or even with people with asthma, anyone that it's having hard time breathing, it's the first step to work on it, to get better and to maybe get off some medication. Or when you practice this breathing, you will be able to deal with certain situations easier. You're not gonna go in that panic mode again, because you teach your body to react and know that, okay, this is a stressful situation, but I know how to handle it. So you send signal to your body, I'm okay. The way that you start breathing, right? So it is all for the long run. That it is, again, it's not something you use when it happens. It's like preventing, almost like that you're learning to harmonize, to balance everything in your life. So when something hard comes, because life happens and it will keep coming, it's not, you start breathing and everything's going to be just like and happy and magic. And life happens, but it's for the reason to really understand and learn more about yourself and what's truly aligns with you. It's not just the breath, it's all together. It's your lifestyle. But once you learn how to breathe, you'll know, okay, I don't have to, to go and run 10 miles. I don't have to prove myself that I can run it for less time. I don't have to go on a hike and finish it because, there's something beautiful to see at the end. I can just go halfway. I don't have to carry groceries and all at once because I can and I'm strong, right? I can do a few trips. It's all about teaching you to slow down, to start paying attention to the little things in life, to really not rush, not achieve, not just go and do and like, fit so many things in your day. It's let go. Just be here right now in this moment, because that's the moment, right? You cannot go back and live the past, and you can't live the future. You don't know. And so why even spend, time or go again in your head and thinking like, okay, so where am I going to be in 5 years? Well, why now? Like, you're here. So just be present to what is. And you start noticing the love, the beautiful feeling of that you are you, and you can share that beauty with others and affect someone just with your smile. That's all it is. The breathing is slowing down, being here, being in the moment, knowing why you're here and why were you born. So you can share that gift with all of us. So
I love that. And I love how so the breath work is really that prevention aspect. It's not the like intervention in the moment type of deal. It's really that prevention of understanding. And I do know, so when I train my classes, we talk about like if somebody's having a panic attack, and I always share, I'm like, don't tell somebody to breathe, because they already know that they need to, but they can't at that moment. Right. And so it's really great if you are somebody who experiences anxiety or panic attacks. It would probably be really great for them to go take some breathwork classes and or come and hang out with you to be able to learn the techniques of breathing before it happens.
Right. Yes. And speaking of that, I actually had experience a few days ago in the park being with my son, and there was a mom that was having panic attack, which I've never experienced. I've never seen how, in person. When I teach people, they usually come to me, they want to learn. But it was like in the moment, something was happening. And I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, but I knew that I could somehow help. And so I practice one technique that it's a little bit different from the functional breathing, but what it actually allowed her to come back to her body. Of course, I held her hands. I wanted to make sure that she knows that I'm there. There's someone with her. She's safe. And when we were breathing together slowly, I could see it was going away. And 10 minutes into it, she was calm again. And it was amazing to witness. And also, like, for myself, know that, what I'm teaching, it's something that truly works. And like, it's really like, if I give you the technique, you have it for life. And you can, practice it anytime.
That's awesome. That's actually one of the techniques that I share with people is you don't have to touch them or anything. You can like physically just be this close and you start breathing audibly so that they can hear you. And then as you slow down the pace, then they'll start slowing down their pace. And it's been proven that that is a technique that you can do when somebody is having a panic attack or anxiety attack. So that's cool to know that. I teach it. I haven't actually done it before, but it's cool to know that it actually works.
Yes, it's all about when you're in the panic mode, right? It's you hyperventilating. You're breathing so heavily and you're breathing through your mouth usually. And so you breathing up in the upper chest. And so you stopping the oxygen flow in your body. And so all that is happening, you're creating pressure. And it's a high blood pressure. And so if you keep breathing like this, it's all stress. And so it's very important, like you said, start breathing with them, knowing that they're safe. And then like I was counting. And that helped, because inhale, it's activity. It gets you into sympathetic mode. And exhale evens it out. So it's a relaxation mode. So anytime that you're taking inhales and exhales, if you inhale, you make sure that your exhale is longer. That will get you in a relaxed mode. So that's like one thing that when you're breathing, that's, make sure that you exhale longer.
And I do know, like we were talking about up here, so a lot of people tend to breathe up in their chest. And so when you can drop it down to your diaphragm, which I don't think everybody knows how to do that. So it is really cool to have somebody who specializes in it to be able to share. And I only know this. My mom was a music teacher. So singing, when you sing, you have to sing from your diaphragm. And I just remember my mom always saying, sing from your diaphragm. So when I took any breathing classes, I was like, oh, it triggered the diaphragm or understanding how to breathe there.
Yes. So that's wonderful that you're mentioning that, because functional breathing, the first few steps are biomechanics, biochemistry, and then a pace. And that's exactly, it's teaching you not only how soft and light you need to breathe in order to deliver oxygen into your body, but also include the core with, so you're using the lower part of your lungs and you're breathing through your nose. And then it's the pace, like inhaling, if you're inhaling for 4, then maybe exhale for 6, always like longer. So there's these 3 steps that makes this, like a whole. And when you learn that, it's just like a beautiful thing. And then you can work with other just techniques that will, like I said, raise the quality of your breath. But it's very important, the diaphragm, because it's not only that you breathing into your core, but we have organs here, right? Majority of our organs are down here. So when you're breathing through your nose, light and soft, then what's happening is this beautiful, the diaphragm, it's inhaling and exhaling. It starts right here. It just moves up and down. And what it does, it's moving it's massaging all of your organs. So they actually can function. Anytime anything it's moving, it means that it's alive, right? When something's sitting or it's not moving, then it's not doing anything. So that's why the nose breathing is also important for eating. And, how you're digesting, how your body, and there's so much, like, how long we need to eat before the brain kind of clicks in and say, okay, we're actually digesting. So let me, work with that too. And how slow, how many times we should chew. Because everything has, like, when you're breathing, there's so much.
All of it. All of it. Well, we're going to go to our quick last sponsored break. And once we come back, I would love for you to, and I know that you can't see when you can kind of see our hands a little bit, but I would love for you to share maybe a couple techniques just with the audience, if that's something that you're open to. But we'll be right back after this quick sponsored break. All right.
1,917 people die daily from suicide globally.
I lost my middle sister, Carrie, to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017.
How does Kelli, host of the Make Mental Health Matter show, impact lives?
Number 1, awareness.
My story, however, it isn't unique. I am a domestic violence survivor and a recovering addict. For 14 years, I was in active addiction. And because of Kelli and the work that she does and the opportunity to have my voice heard, I was able to stay clean and sober and have hit a year. I'm still here. And if it wasn't for Kelli answering my call the day that I thought I was going to take my life.
2, conversation.
I'm curious, and I know that I've heard a lot in the BIPOC community, it is very hush-hush. It's like one of those things that you don't talk about. Like, you literally feel like it's not a conversation you can have. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
First, shout out to Kelli, because I'm glad that she asked the question. I researched you before I went on your show, and I saw how real and authentic you were. And I just appreciate the question, because it is different and we have to have tough, courageous conversations. So yes, I always say I'm a triple diversity threat. I'm a Black woman with multiple disabilities. Now, I'm not really a threat, but to other people, I may be, because people fear the unknown and what they're uncomfortable with.
Number 3, education.
Kelli's passionate commitment to mental health awareness is a beautiful thing. It's clear in her social media posts, it's clear in the resources that she puts together, in the activities that she provides, her collaboration with organizations, and the consistent way that she continues to deliver a message, encouraging people to understand that they can share openly and to break the stigma around mental health. Kelli's topics cover children and adults, talk about things that we can do as a community, things that we can do individually, and her website is packed with information and resources and all kinds of contacts that you can use to reach out, whether you're dealing with something yourself or you're looking to help somebody else who is struggling. I encourage you to check it out.
And like that, we're back again. If you happen to be just joining the Make Mental Health Matter show, thank you so much for tuning in, but you missed the whole half, so go back and watch it. My guest, Lenka, and I are really talking about breath, breathing, intentionally breathing. And you were really starting to talk about, well, we talked about how oftentimes we breathe up here, but really we need to drop it down into our diaphragm. And that was cool, how you were showing that it massages all of our organs. And I was like, like when you were doing that, I was like, I feel very calm. But I think the question that popped into my head, because we hear, okay, there's probably two parts of this. I know if I'm thinking about my son, he has challenges breathing through his nose. I say it like we both did, but he recently got dental work. And I was pretty concerned because they had to put the nitrous oxygen on his nose, and I was worried that he wouldn't be able to breathe it in enough. Finding out that he actually did, but he is very much a mouth breather, and that's very noticeable. We've gotten his tonsils out. We've gone and seen like specialists to find out why. But ultimately it was, and I don't know, because he still breathes out of his mouth, but he had a tongue tie, which we got cut, and his jaw is kind of back a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're working on, trying to get that to pull forward. But I know that that's a challenge when we talk about breathing, at least through your nose. So I don't know if you know much. Looks like you do.
Not much, but I think I know, like I've studied it, and it definitely, the way we breathe affects the way that our jaw and the entire, like a part here actually changes and forms. So if you're a mouth breather, your tongue, it's the heaviest muscle in this area of our body. And so if we breathe through our mouth, your tongue sits on the bottom, right? What happens is that your tongue goes further in. It's closing the air tube. So it's making the, let's say that there's maybe opening like this, right? Mm-hmm. If your tongue is in the way, it's closing it. So here you go. Now you're getting this much air instead of this much, right? Mm. So it's affecting not only that, but also how your teeth are forming. And because when we're breathing through our nose, our tongue is in the upper part. And so it's allowing the oxygen nicely flow. The other thing that you mentioned, the nitric oxide, it's a beautiful gas that forms only in our nose. And that's what helps our body to open up our airways. It's a neurotransmitter, so it helps our brain function better. And when we're breathing through our nose, the nitric oxide filters everything, right? It acts like a bleach in our body. So any germs, any pathogens, anything that's out there, it can filter it. And so you're getting nothing, in your body. Versus when you're breathing through your mouth, you're breathing everything in. And not only that, but the way that we either talk or whatever, we're just releasing that out again. So nitric oxide, it's a very important gas that it's only being produced in our nose. And we a lot of times we think it's breathing is all about oxygen, right? Inhaling oxygen, exhaling, and it has three gases that are working together. And if they're not being given what they need, meaning if you don't slow down and breathe light and soft and into your diaphragm, you're always in a stressful mode. And then carbon dioxide cannot release the molecules of oxygen into your body. So you're pretty much just in a stressful mode all the time, and you're not getting as much oxygen. And so, yeah, the breathing through your nose has a big impact on how your teeth are forming and how you can actually breathe through. So with your son, it would take a time to practice the soft breathing, but it does make a difference, a huge difference. It might be hard in the beginning, but it's not overnight thing. That's what a lot of people, expecting. But it's not. You got to work on it. And it until it becomes the lifestyle, then it's still going to be a thing that you're doing, but you know that you're doing to benefit yourself. And it's okay to, catch yourself or breathing through your mouth. It's okay. It's the learning steps. Anytime you are breathing through your mouth, you can close it, right? And be like, oh, I'm breathing through my mouth again. And concentrate more on the nose breathing, but light. Because if we only switch from mouth to nose breathing, if we're hyperventilating, it doesn't matter if it's mouth or nose. You're still under pressure. So,
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of those, like, trying to get him to breathe through his nose, and now it totally makes sense with the teeth and all. Yeah, there's a lot there anyways, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What I would love, and while we're in the last few minutes here, and I'm sure as the audience would love to just know maybe a technique that would help them. And I know we kind of shared or chatted a little bit on that break of, because Americans were very stressed often. So, what would be a good breathing technique for those that might be stressed often?
Stressed often, I'd say start practicing your functional breathing. But when there's a wonderful quick technique that anytime it's that sudden, instant stress, right? You're in traffic and you need to stop on a brakes because someone in front of you did something, right? You're going up on a stage, you want to talk, but you've never done it and you feel that like pressure, right? You may be asking for a raise, things like that, that something sudden. It's not for stress that like chronic stress, that's a different story. But if it's the sudden instant one, there is a wonderful technique that all you need to do, it's very quick. You inhale through your nose, and then as you're exhaling, we're going to exhale through our mouth, but seeping. So we put our teeth together, and we're just going to seep until your air is out. You don't want to go too far where the next inhale is like, right? And you're gasping for air. You just allow your body to get rid of the air and then inhale again. So inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth, seeping. And you do this a few times, it depends. Just watch your body. How it's reacting. 3-5 times should be enough to get you to that you can function. A lot of times it's with kids that you overreact, right? So before you overreact, just step aside, do this 3 to 5 times, and then you can go and talk to your kiddo. Or if your kiddo is in danger, that's something that you can use. So you kind of can, decide what would be the best thing to do in this moment right now. So you don't go and do something that would harm even more someone or your kid.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
So pretty simple, breathing in through your nose and then with your teeth together, seeping but not going too far. So
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much for giving that tool. Any final thoughts that you want to share, and where can people find you if they want to, whether it's follow you or they just want to learn more about working with you?
I do different workshops that are on different topics. You can find me the easiest way probably on my website, which is say-yes-to-life.com. And I'm on a Facebook too, the same, Say Yes to Life. And if you want to just maybe email, it would be coach@sayyes-to-life.com. And my last thought, if anything that you would, take away from this, just start paying attention, close your mouth, and start practicing nose breathing, and just pay attention to whether you are outside walking, how is your breath? Are you breathing out loud? Are you breathing through your mouth or nose? Without any like guilt or being hard on yourself. Just truly pay attention to your breath. What is my body telling me? And if you hear yourself breathing, then you know that your body's saying, I cannot handle this. Slow down, pause, and just, relax and do it a different way.
Nice. I love that. Well, this has been another amazing episode, and hopefully you got some tools and just better understanding about breathing, because breath is always with us. It's not something that we have to go pay for. It's not something that we have to worry about acquiring. We always have it, but being able to learn some of the tools and the techniques, and just knowing that it can be something that we utilize at every moment in our lives, I think is just really incredible. So thank you so much for being an amazing guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Well, no matter what you do, make sure you come back next Monday. I go live every single Monday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time on E360 TV, or you can listen on Dream Vision 7 Radio at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. by simply saying, Alexa, play Dream Vision 7 Radio. But we will catch you next Monday. Bye, y'all.
Bye.